Hello, my friends. This is Dr. Ginny Barrow. Today, I have a very timely topic, given everything that is happening in our country. I recently delivered a talk for one of my dear clients, Embracing the Unknown, Developing Resilience Through a Growth Mindset. And I know that many of us are going to be impacted no matter what happens during our election here in the US. And while I do not want to talk politics with you because that is a very divisive topic, I believe the topic that does unite us is our ability to deal with change and to move forward constructively regardless of the outcomes. And sometimes as companies, we struggle with this as it relates to implementing change and transformation within our teams. Many of our clients talk about the employees' resistance to change, and employees often discuss how much anxiety change can incite within us. To that end, I want to give you some of the tools that I share with them at a very high level so that you can begin to notice what are the main challenges around changes for you. What are you currently doing about them? And what are some of the strategies that I can recommend to you that you begin exploring further so you can find solutions around the behaviors and the outcomes you're looking to achieve? If that serves you, stick around. The first item on our agenda today is to get clear and increase your self-awareness, which is part of emotional intelligence. How do you feel about change in general? How do you and your organization handle the change? And what are the outcomes of prior changes that you have made? This assessment you're making will support us in putting a pin on the map as to what is the pattern you've noticed in yourself and your teams as it relates to dealing with change. It will be a very insightful answer. Based on it, we will then take the next steps. Once you determine how the team and yourself are handling it, the next question is to ask yourself, are we reacting or responding to the change from the fixed mindset perspective? Or are we looking at not only what is challenging about the change, but also the possibilities that the change brings us? If you're only looking at the former and only focus on the problems, the hurdles, and the challenges and the risks of the change, that would indicate to me that you are mostly fixed-minded about the change. And the disadvantage of only looking at a fixed-minded perspective is that it's limiting your ability to adapt to the change faster, to learn from it, and to be more constructive as you move forward. What is the difference in terms of the two constructs? When you have a growth mindset, unlike what I just described, your team and you would not only be looking at what are the downsides and setbacks the change will bring, you would also focus on what are some opportunities. How can this change help us become better? What will we need to learn as a result of the change that will propel us forward in the future? And what needs to happen for us to learn that? What are the planning gaps? What are the resources gap that we need to address and mitigate? And as a result of this analysis, you're going to end up not only being realistic, which is what we want to be for sure, we will become more resourceful and more positive about moving forward with this change. Change disrupts individuals personally. It takes away their certainty, which is part of their human needs. It injects way too much uncertainty, which even though variety is a human need, when it's to the extreme, it has the potential to cause a lot of anxiety. When companies are dealing with change, there's in many cases resistance from employees. There are factors that are external to the organization that also play a role in creating more uncertainty and creating more chaos around the change that really, quite frankly, no one really knows what is going to happen. If we look at history, you have already, as a company or an individual, overcome plenty of changes. We are very resilient. No matter what organization comes in, what administration comes in, what party they're from, we always make it work somehow. And yes, some of us are impacted more than others. And at the same time, we figure it out because we put our heads together. And with a common vision, we can discern what would be the best course of action. And so I invite you right now, as we are transitioning into a whole new way of leading, a new way of working, a new way of interacting with each other, given what happens either way. And I don't know what happened yet when I'm recording this video. I am suggesting that when you focus on developing a growth mindset for your leaders, everyone will become more resilient, including yourself. Some of the signs that people are fixed minded in the culture that you're in is that they would say phrases like, "We've always done it that way. If it's not broken, don't fix it. These methods have worked for us in the past. We should continue to do it this way. What's the point? It's not going to change. Just don't bother." These are all expressions that resemble a fixed mindset. And we know that people who are resilient have a growth mindset because of the fact that it's not about if we're going to get knocked down, it's about when. And then the question is, how are we getting up? How are we learning from a mistake that we made? How are we giving feedback so we can be open and transparent? How are we communicating to our people what we know about the change and how it impacts us? And to be clear and honest about what we don't know, that we will figure out together and that you will communicate once you have the information. In many cases, especially during huge changes, it's so important for leadership to be present and visible, to be clear, to be open, to be honest, and give employees the benefit of the doubt that they are smart enough to handle good and bad news while ensuring that you communicate with a human's needs lens. And here's what I mean by that. Every human being has 6 human needs: the need for certainty, for information that is known, the need for uncertainty. If we know everything, life will be pretty boring. So we need a little variety, and change automatically injects variety. As it relates to change, big change, the challenge is to manage that variety so that it doesn't become overwhelming. The third human need is significance. People's sense of their value goes down during change because their value is threatened. And so we want to make sure that we still communicate to our employees the meaning of the work they do, how we value their contributions and their expertise. The other need that human beings have is the need for connection, and being able to keep in touch with them, reach out to them, and continue the communication will help them feel more connected to you, to the team, to the company. The fifth human need is the need for growth. And of course, change incites a lot of growth as it relates to learning new skills, new procedures, new regulations that may be active after the change happens or during the change. Let's see how you can support your leaders and your people to grow through the change so they can manage what they need to learn in a sustainable way. And lastly, everybody needs to contribute. And change also allows us to contribute to each other, to support each other, to give help, and to ask for the help. When you consider the self-assessment of how do I handle change, what are the challenges we have with our people and within us about managing the unknown and the uncertainty, what are we doing about it? How is our culture reflecting a fixed versus a growth mindset? And you put in place the measures to support your people to develop this growth mindset. It will make you more resilient. It will provide your ability to navigate the change and the uncertainty in a way that supports your company goals, ambitions, and the people who are in your company delivering for you taking care of clients, generating new products. If you like to connect to discuss what are the most prominent behaviors that you see among your people as it relates to change, including and especially at the leadership level, let's connect. You can always find me at callwithginny.com. And as I say goodbye, no matter what happens, I want to leave you with my belief that our country believes in freedom, believes in opportunities, and believes in everybody's right to the pursuit of happiness and for everyone to be able to bring their best self forward and think about what is best for our people, our economy, and our safety. Live with purpose, live with joy.